So we've been in the community development software business for 14 years, and we have really focused just on community development software and really looking to be the best product in just that class. And so we don't do finances, we don't do other work order components. We really just focus on this. And for those 14 years, we've always been a web-based software. So the only thing that you ever need to have to access CitizenServe is a browser and connection to the internet. So there's never any software that you need to download or anything like that. All the updates are done by us because we've always been for 14 years a cloud-based software. We didn't start, on the AS400 and put a web piece on the front end of that, or buy up different companies and try to consolidate different technology platforms. So you're seeing, what you're going to see today is 14 years of experience. The same technology and the same model of delivering that. So we've got a lot of experience. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody else in this space that has that kind of continuous experience with their technology and their delivery models. The other thing that we've been doing for 14 years, and we'll hit on this as we go through, is with CitizenServe, it's a complete support model. We've been doing that for over 14 years. We realize it's hard for cities and towns to get additional funds from year to year, so we've always offered a complete service model where we'll do anything that you want to the system to keep it working the way that, or to have it work the way that you want to. As things in your municipality change, we're there to change those things with you. So if you need new permits, or you need to change your fees, or you want to report, or you want to add to a workflow, or you want to put new things out on the portal for your citizens, all that's included in your subscription. And not only is it included, but our turnaround time for most of those things are that same day. So we run about 80% of the time. When you ask us to do something, it's done that very same day. So our people that work at support are the same people that do implementations. They rotate through. They have the skills to do whatever you need. And our goal is to get as many of those things done each and every day that they were asked for. And we've been doing that same model for 14 years too. So a lot of things I think that are that kind of continuity of service with us. The other thing I'd say about CitizenServe, we are we're a profitable company. We've been profitable for 9 years. We don't owe, we have no debt, we have no external investors, and so we really we're here to continue this model for the next 14 years too, just as we are doing right now. Jim, would you add anything to any of that?
No, we can probably, if we want, we can hop in and kind of go through the different areas.
Yep, let's do that.
Okay, so just to kind of add, we've been doing this 14 years, and there's a bunch of stuff on the website. If you want to have a cup of coffee or something, there's some stuff in the demo center, which is pretty cool. You can click on the different types of information that you're interested in. These are put together by our product development team, and then there's a bunch of information on the blog too. We sort of use the blog to put special features and things like that. Like if I type in a butter notice, pull up a demo on that feature and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different categories and stuff you can click on in here, and it'll pull up usually videos and maybe a little bit of text, but it's very cool. The other thing is, a couple of Illinois customers we have, I don't know if you're aware, but Mount Prospect is doing an implementation right now with CitizenServe. So, they probably have some feedback. I know that they went through a lengthy evaluation process, and we did, several demos for them, and really had to, they had to drill down on, things like rental inspections and all the different types of things that they do. And we recently went live, I think it might have been a couple of months ago, with Urbana, and Urbana had gone through an RFP process to select a vendor, so they also went through a pretty extensive process with us and other vendors to make their final decision. So they're probably a good group to talk to. So I'm going to basically start out on the portal, and we're going to do a permit as a citizen or contractor. And then what we're going to do after we do the permit on the portal is that we're going to switch to the staff side of the application, and we're going to go through the approval process for the permit and issue the permit. Then we're going to do an inspection. I'm going to do that on an iPad, and then we'll create a certificate of occupancy for that permit. And so that's what we're going to look at first, and we've got a lot to do and not much time to do it, so so let's get going. I'm going to go to the portal, and this is a demo portal, and the portal is configurable. It's all HTML, so we can do any combination of graphics and fonts, and there's a built-in HTML editor, you know, so you can easily make changes to the pages on the portal. And a lot of the portal is very configurable. We started out doing custom portals years ago, and then we kind of built it into the system, and you know, sometimes, you know, we got a whole spectrum in the hundreds of clients that we have. You know, some people want to do everything on the portal, and sometimes you want to limit the functionality, and so that's, you know, that's really, it's all on the fly configuration. You can change the features easily, and that sort of thing. So let's take a look at some of the stuff. So we can do development projects, and one of the things that's really important while we're doing the demo to remember is that the process for licensing, permits, planning and zoning projects is all pretty similar. You know, there's an application, there's submittal documents, there's usually fees. We go through one or more review routes, or maybe no review route for the application, and we just issue the permit or license. And, you know, it's all very similar. Licenses usually go through like a renewal process, whereas permits are projects and they get closed out at some point. We can also do code complaints, and we have a really robust request tracking system. It's very similar to our code cases, but it's, you know, code cases are you're trying to get the citizen to get something into compliance. Request tracking is, you know, you're getting requests from citizens or routing requests internally from department to department, and we can set up any number of file types and forms and stuff like that for those types of things. There's a search feature that can be enabled or disabled. Sometimes people don't want to have all this stuff on the portal, but you can enter, you know, an address or permit types or those types of things and pull up permits. And then there's also capability of doing, you know, drilling down on the permits and actually seeing the permit applications and the review process and the documents and the inspections and stuff like that. So these are all things that can be disabled. It's just as simple as, you know, clicking a checkbox on the portal configuration. So sometimes our customers want to provide very specific information to constituents, and we do that with reports. Any reports that we do on the staff side, you can publish on the portal. So, and they can be any of the types of reports that we do on the staff side, which would be, you know, say here we want to do code complaints on a map. We can do map reports, pie charts, line charts, you know, kind of tabular reports where you can export the information to Excel. You can click on the pins on the maps on the map reports and see the information behind that. We use Google Maps. We can also integrate directly with Esri and pull in information directly using web services. But while you're in the maps, whether you're looking at a report or in the map features on the staff side, you can go to satellite view, you can go to street view. We can pull in layers with the reports. You know, if I wanted to show a zoning layer with this report, I could. And the layers are also available, you know, throughout the application on the staff side too. So, you know, here's another report that's out here, and you know, common reports might be, you know, permits issued on a map, or business licenses, active business licenses by type, you know, all that sort of stuff you can put out on the portal. So one of the things that's important to remember about the portal is this is a device and browser independent HTML5 responsive design. So, citizens can bookmark this on their tablet or smartphone, and it's going to look good in a smartphone configuration. And let me click on permits here. So it's really actually, all of Citizen Serve is device and browser independent. The staff side, you can use a tablet, a smartphone, whatever you've got that's attached to the internet and has any one of the major browsers. So accounts here, I can go in, I can register. Usually with business licenses, we're going to import that data and kind of kick off the renewal process by giving people a username and login, temporary, so that they can see their information when they do their renewal. But we can set up any kind of registration types, and we can have different required fields by registration type, and we can have custom fields throughout the application. We can do property custom fields. The applications are made up of custom fields, and inspection forms can have custom fields. Really, throughout the system, the custom fields can be tracked in history. They can be used in generating reports. The fee table, you can use any of the custom fields, like say square footage on a permit. So it's very rich functionality in terms of the fields that we can put in the system, and then you can use them throughout, and even search. You can say, hey, I want to be able to search on this custom field, and it'll show up on all those search screens. So let's do a permit. So I'm a citizen, and I already got a login, but I'm going to do an application here, and log in. Now we're going to show you the permit types that are enabled for the portal. So you don't have to have everything available on the portal. You can pick what you want to have out there. I'm going to pick a building permit, and I'll just say that this is new construction. Now we show you this, there's a submittal requirements page on the portal, but we also, after you select a permit, we'll show you the submittal requirements for that permit type, so that they can review it again. But I'm going to say that this is a new home construction. Spell checking's built in really throughout the system, so we're just using the browser features for that. We can do help on all the custom fields and throughout the system. We can also put in, special text and links to helpful information in the application process. So licenses and permits are actually projects or project oriented. So you can have a business that has a restaurant business license, an alcohol license, and dumpster license or whatever like that. So you can, and it's the same thing with permits. We can be, associate this new application with an existing project, or say it's a new project. And so I'm going to put some information in here, and I think one of your questions was about address information. For each permit type, you can say, hey, we want a validated address from our property data for this application, or we could say you don't need an address at all for something like a solicitor license or something like that, where there's no address associated with a permitter license. And then you can also just allow people to freeform enter an address. Say if it's a new project and the property data isn't really updated yet. So once I select this, we're going to validate the information. We've got pulled in the property owner information, parcel number, all that sort of thing. And this down here is the application. And, the applications themselves are also, responsive design. So the entire, it's not just the pages, but the applications themselves are set up to look good on a smartphone or a tablet. They can also be dynamic. And this is very common in the application world, where you might ask a question, and if somebody says yes to the question, you want to ask 10 more questions. If they say no, you don't want to ask those questions, and that just makes the whole application process simpler for the citizens or businesses. So if I said one structure, if I say two, it's going to ask me for two structures. If I go back to one, it's going to give me one. So so let's go ahead and put in some info here. This is just example application. So, all these fields are going to be fields that are off of your application. We can set up headers and graphics and links and text fields, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to put in some square footage, and we're going to ask the contractor in this example, what their evaluation is. Here's a text field that's got a link in it. Hey, go to the state contractor license system, and so we can do that. We can set up links to GIS systems, to code books, to whatever in the system. We're just using HTML. Here's another help field, and this has integrated licensing. So we're licensing the contractors and showing what's active, and then this is a contact listing, which allows me to kind of pull up the different trades. So if I want to pull up my architect, I can, pick from the list of people that are in the system that are approved. And we've got submittal documents down here. It's important to know that you can put submittal documents anywhere. It's anywhere in the application. We can do them in inspection forms. We can, they're just another custom field in CitizenServe. So let's go ahead and pick a site plan here. And again, I'm a citizen and I'm uploading this information. So I'll pick that. We'll put in some kind of an affidavit looking document, and maybe I'm just randomly picking some things here. We can control what types of files they can upload in the system. We can say only PDF or any kind of document. We can also set up submittal documents buttons where they can upload 20 documents under one button, which is helpful if you don't know how much you're going to be uploading. So these are going to be in the system. They're always going to be in the Documents tab and also associated with the application. So, so down here we've got another custom field type, which we can put anywhere, in inspection reports and stuff like that. But it's a signature field. It just allows me to collect a signature. Maybe I do an inspection and I want to get a signature from the person in charge, or I want to get a signature from the applicant. I can do that. So I can save for later. All the things on the portal can be saved for later, whether they're just a simple request or a really complicated permit or license application. I'm just going to click submit. So this says, hey, your application has been received, and it's going to take me to the payment page. So on the payments for the license types, we can say, hey, we want everything up front, or we want to just get application fees or plan check fees, and then we're going to collect the rest later at some point in the process. And that can be different, for your different license and permit types. So one of the questions really was, what about the simple, simple permit? And one thing to keep in mind is that we can, if we wanted to here, we can collect a payment. Like maybe it's just you got to pay a $150 fee, and we're going to send you the permit. So that would be a situation where we, collect $100 here, and when I click submit, the template that, actually I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay that. So the template document that I get, let me jump over here to, I get a template document here that says my application has been received, which is an email that went out to me. But this can be changed to actually be the permit, right? So if you want to do a simple permit where they just pay online, we can send them an email with the permit after we process their payment. So let me jump over here. I'll close that out. And so we submitted the document, and what I wanted to show you really quick here is if I go back to my account, I'm going to look at an existing permit, because as we're doing things on the staff side, I want to show you what's showing up on the citizen side. And I'm going to look at my permits, and I'll click on one of these, and here's the application. It's the same one we just did, so you can see the application fields. These can be set up so that they can be edited based on the status, right? So if it's in a resubmittal status or something, and you wanted someone to change the square footage, we can set that up. Or like a business license, maybe they need to modify their application when they do their renewal. So if that happens, I'll see a button up here that means I can edit the document. The reviews also show up. So a review route, this is what we're going through to approve the application. You want to have your constituents be able to see kind of is the ball in my court, is it in their court, that kind of thing. So you can see the review process, and you can also see the review comments. So as we're going through the staff side and we're adding some comments, they're just going to automatically show up on the portal. You can also make review activities private. In that case, that particular review activity is not going to show up on the portal. So documents are going to show up. So here's my submittal documents here, and I can click on these and open them. And this one over here, this site plan, this is something where we've done some comments in the markup tool, and this just basically allows the citizen to open up the document and look at the comments and the markups that we've done. We can also have permit cards, your certificate of occupancy, inspection reports, all that sort of stuff can show up here under the Documents tab. So, and inspections. We're going to show you inspections, pass, fail, and also the ability to see an inspection report or inspection comments. So that's kind of what we're gonna be working on the staff side, and as we're doing it, all that information is going to be available on the portal for the citizen or contractor. One of the things that's really important when you're starting to do the electronic relationship with the citizens is that you want to have like a notification matrix. Basically, this is going to allow when I take an action on the portal, it's going to notify somebody on the staff side. So if I upload a doc, the staff says, hey, I need this document. When I upload it, oh, did you guys get cut off or?
Yeah, we got cut off a while back.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're gonna have to go back. We lost you after you hit submit.
Okay.
Payment section.
The payment.
All right. Well, okay. So let's go back. And so what I basically have been looking at here is I went to my account. What I wanted to show you, we did the application. I wanted to show you what the citizens see or the contractors see when you're working on the staff side. So basically, they can see the application. They can also, depending on the status of the application, they can edit the application. Like if I do a renewal for a license, I might let the licensee edit the application for the renewal. I may ask a permit applicant to modify something in the application. And so in that case, you would see an edit button here. But they can see the reviews, right? So, the approval process is kind of underway, with the various departments looking at the application. They can see comments, right? So, I can see review comments, I can see inspection reports, I can see my inspections, I can see my documents, I can see my inspection comments. So as we're going through on the staff side, and going through the review process and doing the inspections, just want you to keep in mind that all this stuff's going to be there for the applicant. You don't have to necessarily print things out or anything like that. So, and in documents, the submittal documents show up here. We also, in this one here, we've got some comments in the markup tool. And, so that's something that they can see. They can pull up the documents and pull up the markups and comments on the staff's, on the citizen side. And I can also pull up things like my permit, my certificate of occupancy, my inspection reports, all that sort of stuff. So that's, these are some of the things that are available. In the review side, I wanted to point out that certain review activities can be marked private, so that they don't show up here. And in inspections, you're going to see all the inspections, whether they passed or failed. If I request an inspection, like in this case here, I can click on request inspection, And let's say I want a footing inspection, and I'll say that I want to do it today in the PM. And you can control kind of the time parameters with the inspections. Is it AM, PM, or just which day it's on? Or they can actually pick a specific time. But if I add this inspection, this is going to go and notify someone, either in the unassigned inspection queue or a specific person or department about the inspection. But you'll be able to see that here. See, this is the one we just added. And here I can easily cancel or reschedule inspections that I've requested. And then we've got this notification matrix, which I was talking about, where if you request a document, or you'll get a notice when the citizen or contractor actually uploads the document. So, and let me switch over here. I'm going to just show you that real quick, because it's really important that that you get notified that the ball's back in your court. Because if you request a document and then you forget to go back and check the file, oftentimes that can create dissatisfied citizens. They'll call up and say, hey, a month ago I uploaded that document that you wanted, and why haven't you gotten back with me? Why isn't my permit issued? And so I'm going to go to the portal configuration here, and I'll show you real quick. There's all sorts of options that you can do to set up the portal, and some stuff down here. But I wanted to look at this user notifications and assignments, right? And so this is what I'm talking about, the notification matrix. For a building permit, new permits go to Liam Jameson. If somebody's modified their permit, you can notify somebody. If a payment's been made, you can notify somebody. Inspection requests, you can send those. We have some dynamic user types, like the unassigned activity queue, where you can just queue things up for your department, and someone can come in and make some changes. When someone leaves a message on the portal, and when documents get uploaded. And you can also make this what we call it a responsible user. That's the guy responsible for the file. So we can go to whoever's responsible for that particular file in the system. And we can also send emails, one or more. You can send multiple emails if you want. This is a specific emails option here, where we can just add an email list of everybody we want to notify when something happens on the portal. This just helps you, keep things rolling and keep the citizens happy. So, so we'll jump out of that, and now let's go look at. We did a permit application online, and we're going to go look at the staff side and see what that looks like. So I'm going to log in, and we're device and browser independent. You can log in from whatever device you want to, and we don't download any software. Even the markup tool, all the features in CitizenServe, basically, looks like somebody asked a question. Oh,
It was us.
No.
oh, is that recent, or that's when you lost audio? I wasn't paying attention to that. So, so we don't. Yeah, you don't have to download anything. You can just log in wherever, whenever. Apple, Microsoft, Android. We don't care. So this is the home page. This is what the staff sees, and what we've got here is a task area. This sort of shows you things that notifications, assignments. Usually it's plan review, application review, or maybe like a code enforcement inspection where you're not really. You've got maybe a due date, but you don't have to do it at a certain time and place. The calendar is actually exactly that. It's a built-in browser and device independent calendar. It's integrated, so you can, if I want to drill down on an activity, I can just click on it. We send out, when things are assigned to you, you can get an email. It's a user configurable thing where you can get an email when an inspection has been assigned to you, and you can also get a calendar invite, which will add your inspections or your activities that are events in CitizenServe to your Outlook or Google Calendar. So that's kind of cool. And let's go back to the home page here. And so we've got the calendar, and there's a month view and all that sort of stuff. And you can, the mapping features are always the little map pin here. And I can click on those and see my activities on a map. I always work with the same address, so everything's kind of there. But when you're in the application, you can drill down on permits right from the map, which is kind of cool. And there's all sorts of information here on, you can kind of slice and dice your activities, whether they're inspections or reviews. And we can have layers in the system too. So any kind of layers, asset layers, boundary layers, all that sort of stuff. And you can click on the objects on the map and see the tabular data behind them. And really, just like when we were looking at the report online, you can, if you want, you can go to satellite view, street view, all those Google features are available in the system. So let's jump out of this. And so we looked at the calendar, and we also have a metrics area, so you can go in and kind of, these are sort of summaries, reports. I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but we actually do custom reports for our customers as part of the subscription. So anytime, anywhere, anyone can say, hey, I want this cool report, and we'll make it for you. And the same thing goes for metrics. So, and the metrics are kind of summaries, and then you can click on the metrics and drill down on those if you want. And you can drill down on the file numbers. You can customize the metrics. So, if you want to have, each user can kind of have their own metrics on their pages, and, select a scope and a period for that. And you can easily add and subtract these. If there's a new metric you want that we don't have, it's just a support request and it's free. So we'll set that up for you. Recent files, another thing we keep track of. You can also minimize these sections, and then there's a links area. So if I'm in charge of running expired permit notices or something like that, I can pin reports or processes that I run to my homepage. That's kind of cool. And you can rearrange your homepage with the rearrange thing here. I can kind of take things off of my homepage and rearrange the items on my homepage. So I got a notice saying that there's a new permit application on the portal, and it's the one here ending in 50 at the bottom. And you can see here I've got, it says online portal permit application. That's just an indication that that happened. If it was like a document that was uploaded that I requested, it would say, upload a document for the activity. So let's look at the permit. This is the little red exclamation mark just means there's alerts on this file, and it could be a property alert or a contact alert like on the contractor or something like that. But if there's any alerts on anything in the file, that little exclamation mark there shows up. So let's click on the permit, and this is what the permit looks like on the staff side. So we've got our valuation calculation. You can see the math behind that by clicking on ... I can drill down on certain things, like if I want to see that more information on the applicant, I can click on the ... there and see more information on the applicant. And this is the information that was filled in online by the citizen. I can click on the documents and upload those. I can go to the markup tool. If I want to do some markup, I can get to it there. We've got a little area down here that's sort of a staff use only. All the fields on the portal you can say, or in the applications, you can say, I only want to show this on the staff side, or I want to show it on the citizen side only. I can make it required only on the citizen side, but not on the staff side. So we can control a lot of the behavior of the fields, and it's very easy to do. It's all kind of built in. It's all on the fly configuration too. So I could change this permit application and easily without taking the system down or having to load new software or anything like that. Here's my fee summary down here. Usually fees are a little more complicated. We'll jump into maybe some customers and you'll see some of the fees. But the fee table you can use custom fields, so you don't have to do any programming to set up really complicated fees. And we also keep track of general ledger codes or object codes with each fee line item. And you can also set date ranges on the fees so that you can kind of grandfather older permits into the old fee structure, stuff like that. So basically, let me take a payment just so you can see what that looks like. And I'll take a check here. And we're going to show you, we have contact listing fields in the system where you can basically, you're going to see everybody who's involved in the project, right? So that's what this is. Who am I getting this from? Well, it could be one of the contractors, could be the homeowner, property owner. I could add a new guy, but I'm just going to say the applicant, and we'll put in our plan check fees. And so that's going to put my payment in. Payments that come on the portal through the payment processor are going to show up in here. So that's something that's kind of cool. And we can also do a receipt documents, multiple receipt type documents in there too, which is helpful. You can allocate payments. If you take a partial payment, you want to send it to a certain general ledger code, you can do that. We do manual fees. Sometimes our customers have extensive manual fees for different things on the project, and we can have different fee groups and all that sort of stuff in the system. If you change something in here like the square footage, you can click on the calculator and it'll recalculate the fees for you. So, all right, let's take a look at the reviews. So here's my review process. This is an automated review process. It's important to note that you can have one or more review processes. I can add new review routes, like if this needs special review, I can do that. This one's kind of simple. And you can have no review. If it's a simple permit, you just would have nothing, or just one step. You could have like a one-step review process. And this goes to building. We're going to make sure the application's complete, and then we're going to route it to these other departments, and then eventually comes back to building. And this one here, we've got a kind of a weird step, or not weird, but it's just a step where we're like going to pick the required inspections as part of the review process. So let's go ahead and let's do a couple steps here, but I wanted to, inspections show up under the inspections tab, and non-review or inspection activities show up under activities. So the only one we got in there now is online permit application came in. All the documents are going to show up in the documents tab, including the ones on the application. You can click on them here and open these. Contacts is going to show everybody involved in the project. There's a really cool feature here, this little file folder. If you're looking at a property or a person, you're going to be able to see everything that on the property or associated with that person. So here's Acme, and I can click on this, and it's going to show me all the files they're involved in the system. So I can send emails too if I want to send emails here. And we keep a complete history, and the history can include, like I mentioned, changes to custom fields. So each custom field, you can say, I want to track this in history, and if it's an important custom field like square footage, maybe you want to know if someone's changed that because the fees might be based on that field. But really, we keep an extensive history of everything that's happening on a permit or license or code enforcement case. So I'm going to log in as Morgan and do this one step here in the review process. And here's Morgan, and her home page looks just like the other one we were looking at. So we're going to look at all the tasks, and down at the bottom here we've got this application intake assignment that's been made to Morgan, and I can click on the permit. It takes me to the permit. If I click on the activity, it'll take me right to the activity. So here's my activity. Really important with CitizenServe, departments can own their permits, they can own their activities, or inspection types, or review types, all that sort of stuff. So, if I look at the department list, once I pick a department, I can see the activities that they have. So each department can kind of, control their inspection forms and their applications and stuff like that. So this particular activity is we're using a review comments feature in CitizenServe. This could also be a really complicated form. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'm going to use the comment book, and we'll pull in some of these comments, and I can go to other categories. You'll notice that it pulled up application intake because that matches the activity that I'm completing, and each department can also have its own categories and its own review comments, or you can share with other departments if you want to, kind of inherit from a higher level department. So when I save these, the comments get pulled in. I can add additional comments. And we can also have this status field here. It doesn't have to be here. It's something that's optional, but you can, basically, kind of go through your review comments and mark them as being completed and stuff like that. I can also add new ones. So if I want to add a new one here, like a free-form comment, I can. And now the comments, you'll see this in maybe another one I do, is these can support HTML. So, here I've got a link that's going to show up. I can put, I can make things bold, I can make them red, I can make them, I can have links to code books, GIS systems, whatever. So it's, the comments actually are, we provide full support for, using HTML, doing those. So I'll save my comments and we'll put in a completion date here, and I'll say this is complete. Now I can send an email out. You can kind of see there's some buttons up here. I've got a markup tool button here. I've got a button here to add follow-up activities. If I'm like doing something like an inspection, I want to add a follow-up inspection. I can attach documents to this activity. I can take a picture right from my camera if I'm on a tablet or phone or anything with a camera. I can do that. I can generate like a document or a letter. Maybe like in a code enforcement case, I might generate a letter instead of sending an email. I can also send an email. So let's do that. I'm going to send out. I'm going to send out my application review comments. These are all template documents. They're put together with the HTML browser and device independent editor in the system, and we kind of start with a blank sheet of paper. So this is just an example, and we're doing, in this example, we're doing informal comments along the way, and then in the end we do a plan review report, which is sort of like a roll-up of all the comments from everybody. So I'm going to do my informal one. And here we're going to show you everybody involved in the project when you're picking who you want to send the email to. I'm just going to send it to the applicant, but I could select all. And here's my review team. So I've got my external parties. I can add another guy. And I can see my review team here. I can add attachments. So these are attachments from the file, but I can also add attachments from my desktop, iPhone, tablet, whatever. Here, and I can also take pictures and add those. So there's lots of different ways to attach things in the system, and I can show thumbnails if I've got pictures like in a code enforcement situation, and we'll do that. So I can click preview here, and you can edit template documents, and I'm going to just send this one out. So that's sent my document out, and over here in documents, we'll see, the submittal documents, and here's the email that we sent out. So, so we did that one step. I'm going to go back and log in as Liam, and let's do a little comments while we're actually looking at our plan documents. So Liam has a couple more tasks here. These two at the bottom is application review and required inspections. And he got assigned this because that first step got completed. We can do any combination of parallel or sequential activities, or kind of dependent activities where you're like, hey, I need, steps 1, 3, and 5 to be completed before we assign it to, so-and-so. So I'm going to click on this application review. And so it takes me to the review activity, and again, we can do a form. We can do really complicated forms, but we're just using review comments here. Now I want to do some markup, and I don't want to put my comments in. I want to put them in while I'm looking at the plan document, right? So I'm going to click on the markup tool here, and I'm going to pick the document I want to look at. So maybe I want to do my landscape plan. So this is going to pull in the landscape plan and allow me to do some markups. So let's kind of zoom in here. And so here's my plan document. Now you can do different shapes and stuff like that, arrows, lines, and you can also create stamps. You can create your own stamps. You can share your stamps with your department or other people. You can put an image like a logo or a certificate looking thing behind your stamps. And here's where you can kind of share this with your department or all the departments if you want to. So let's drag a stamp over here. So I'm going to just drag one of my stamps in here. And now all the objects in the markup tool have the comment book. So I've got my comment book here, and I've got view comments. So after I add comments, I might want to go in and view them and change them or something like that. We also have this little lightning bolt here, which allows me to import markups from a previous document. So if I ask for a resubmittal, I can pull my comments in and go through the comments. Let's just pick a couple of comments here, and we'll save that. So I can view my comments, and if I wanted to, I can mark them as fixed, or I can delete them, and that sort of thing. So go ahead and save that. And so let's do I'm going to do an arrow. I'll point something out here. Maybe I want my arrow to be thicker. I'll make a thicker arrow. And I'll add some comments here for that. And add some comments. And so these are all going to be marked, and you can label these. If I wanted to call this something else other than arrow, I can. And other things we can do text in the system. You can highlight something. We can do measurements. You can calibrate and do measurements if you want. And with all these, you can, they're going to have the comment book too. So, here if I wanted to add comments associated with my comments, I can do that. So, we did some stuff in the markup tool. Let's go ahead and save this. And I'll close this. And what's really cool is that this actually will now pull in the text comments. Here's the stuff associated with my receive stamp. Here's the stuff associated with my arrow. Here's the stuff associated with my text. And, that's all, in my comments now. And I can put in that I completed this and approved it. And at this point, if I want to, I can do the same thing. I can send out a review comments if I want to. I could add attachments. I could add the that particular drawing if I wanted to. It's also going to be available on the portal, so you don't necessarily have to do that. But maybe we can try that out. We'll go on that, and I can add attachments. And I think this is going to ask me if I want to include my markups. So basically, if you do markups, I can say, hey, put my markups in my document. We can say put all markups in if other people had done some markups, or you can say no markups at all. So, and then I can preview. Again, this is the comments that we have in the system, and we'll go ahead and send that out. So that's sort of the review process. We're going to go through the different steps. I can add assignments to the review process. If I want to, somebody else needs to look at this, I can add that. I can add another route. If this was, say, in a floodplain or needed a special review by a certain department or group of departments, I can add additional review routes. And I'll show you later, like a planning project that's got some resubmittals where there's multiple reviews in there. So after we go through our review and we approve it, we're going to issue our permit. And so I've got my permit here, and this is a project, so this is going to be a list of my permits. If I had a pool permit and a demolition permit, all that type of stuff, I'd see that whole list here. And if you're looking at the different things, you can always kind of say, hey, I only want to see this permit in the system, or I want to see reviews associated with this permit as opposed to everything, right? So I'm going to generate a permit. Now we do conditions in the system, so you can, and there's about 20 different condition types. One of them is printing an official document like a permit. And that way you can say, hey, you can't print this if maybe it's not paid for, maybe the contractor's license is expired, whatever. I don't have any conditions in this example, but they would show up right here after I click print. It would say, hey, you can't print this, or you can print it, but this is a warning. So here's my permit. Yeah, I mentioned that you can edit these with the editor, and let's edit this. So I can add different things. It's very easy. This is just a HTML editor, and we use this throughout the system. So, and you can get fancy, if you want to edit the source code, you can. And sometimes we have to, do that just because maybe we're doing a really complicated form that's got to match, maybe the local magistrate's, citation format or something like that. So I'm going to save the permit. Permit gets saved here with this, and so let's do an inspection. So now I'm going to click on inspection, and so I'm going to schedule the inspection here, and we're going to do a footing inspection, and this we're using inspection comments, and it's probably worth it to take a quick look at kind of been talking a little bit about the forms we can do in the inspections, and this kind of maybe is applicable for the elevator or conveyance inspection types. This is St. Charles County, Missouri, and we do their environmental health permitting as well as building permits and all that sort of stuff for them. But I wanted to show you what these instead of the review comments, if I went to, say, a fitness center inspection, right, this kind of gives you an idea of what we can do with the forms. So this, instead of using the comments, we're using a checklist. And so this can be made up of any of the custom fields in the system, and basically they can be pretty complicated. This one's got a signature field in it, which oftentimes when you're doing an inspection, maybe you want to get the person in charge's signature. So this is the inspection form for something that's semi-complicated, and then there's an inspection report too. So if I go down here to one of these fitness center inspection report, and this gives you an idea of this stuff we can do. So this is the inspection report, which actually gets filled out from the form, and we can put signatures on it. And this one's got a received by, so you can put the person's signature that you went through the inspection report with. So that's a little bit on that stuff. So I'm scheduling this inspection, so I can go in here and I can see multiple calendars at once. I can have different categories. If I just want to see a single calendar, I can get out of multi-view by clicking the checkbox there. I can pick a different inspector, and this is going to be the department staff for these inspection types. And I'll say that we're going to do this at 1 o'clock. So I'll jump down here and we'll click OK. So this has been scheduled. Now the stuff that comes in off the portal, it's going to come in as an online inspection request, and we can send those to the unassigned activity queue. Let me show you what we got here. So here's my inspection that's been scheduled. If I jump over back here to my home page, I can see I've got 3 here. This one here was the online inspection that was requested, and you know, I can go in and we have a template in the system. You know, if I wanted to change this to scheduled, I can do that, and I can send out, you know, an email here, the inspection schedule template email, to confirm that particular inspection request. The unassigned activity queue is right here, and it's kind of cool. Basically, you can, you know, pull in your layers if you want. I can see the activities on the map. When I click on them, I can go down here and assign the activities, or I can click on assign to me, you know, if I just want to pick up what's in there. This is the map view for the unassigned activities, and then there's a list view too. So if I click on list view, it gives me the unassigned activities in a list, and I can pick somebody or just pick up the ones I want by just clicking on assign to me here. So sometimes people send the online inspection requests for their department, you know, to the unassigned activity queue, and then someone will go in and make the assignments. So I'm going to do this inspection on an iPad, and in order to do that, I'm going to use my camera. I've got a you know, document camera here, so you can actually see the iPad. And I'm going to log in here. So on the iPad, CitizenServe is just CitizenServe. It's not a different application. It's the same thing. So I can basically, you know, all the things that are available, I can click on the maps, I can pull in layers if I want, I can click on the layers and pull up that information that's behind it. I can go to satellite view, I can, you know, pretty much everything you can do in the office, you can do on the iPad, including the markup tool. So that's kind of cool. So anyways, let's do the inspection. So I've got my inspections down here, and we've got one that the one that we want to do is in the middle here. So I'm going to click on that, and that's going to pull up the inspection for me. And we'll go ahead and throw some stuff in here from the comment book. So you'll see that it's pulling in the footing comments. So I can pick other comments if I want to, but by default, it's going to pull up, you know, if you're doing electrical inspection, it's going to pull up the electrical comments. If I wanted to pick a different category, I could, but I'll go ahead and put my comments in there. And this could be that, you know, this could be that crazy form that we were looking at for the fitness center too. So other things that are kind of cool is that when you're on an iPad, you can take pictures directly from the camera. So if I wanted to take some pictures, I can. You know, I just click on the camera here. I don't really have anything to take a picture of, but I'll just take a picture of my camera, staring down at my camera. So, and then I just click on that, and I can go up here and actually pick a document type, put in a description if I want to, and you know, that's how easy it is to attach a document or a picture to your inspection. You can also use the microphone. So if I wanted to, this is an example of using speech to text on the iPad. So if I want to put my comments in, you know, if the browser on the device supports speech to text, which all of them do, you can do that. So I get done with my inspection, and I'm going to put in a completion date here, and then you can see that the drop-down list box is kind of the finger-friendly version of that. So that's kind of all comes with the browser. and I want to send an email out of my inspection report to my contractor. And I can jump in here, and again, you know, kind of a finger-friendly version to select that, and I can pick my people here that I want to send it to. I'm just going to send it to my applicant. Another opportunity here to add a picture or a video is add attachments. If I wanted to add something here, I can, like the photo I just took. I can select that, and I can do things on my device. So if I had a picture in my document library, I can take a photo here. It's kind of just like the other photo we just took, or, you know, access like a cloud drive or something. I can do that. So I'll click on attach, and we can preview it. I can edit it, preview it, all that sort of stuff on the iPad. So we'll just send it out. So this sends out our inspection report, and, you know, back in the office we got our permit, and we can see the inspection's been, it was passed. You can see my comments that I talked into the system. I can also see my inspection report here. And the picture, you know, the picture I took is going to show up in here, but it's really a picture of nothing. So, so that's doing the inspections. We can do conditions with inspections. So like if you try to schedule a final inspection and you haven't passed your prerequisites, we can tell you, hey, you can't do this yet. And so we go back over here when we're done with the project. We can do a certificate of occupancy. And you know, here's a sample of that. We can do dynamic signatures. So I can put a user signature here if they generate the document. I can also make it static. You know, maybe it's just the building official, you know, that is on this document, and it can just be a static signature. Let's go ahead and save that. And that's permitting. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I have a question for you. When you're out in the field and you don't pass an inspection, can you automatically create a new inspection, you know, a follow-up inspection?
Yeah. So that's going to be when I was in the inspection here, and this is the same for code enforcement. You know, I'm in an activity here. We've got this button here, the little calendar, add follow-up, right? And I can jump in here and, you know, so footing inspection is what I want to do. So I could jump in here and actually add a follow-up. You know, maybe I want to do it, you know, a week from now, and you know, I can put the time in if I want to too. So that's what this button is. You know, it's kind of the add follow-up activity, right? We can also, you know, our inspection reports or email templates or document templates, we can do processing with those. So, you know, sometimes we might do like a rental inspection, and, you know, there's, I know Urbana does this. They have, you know, like 3 different categories for their inspection comments, right, or inspection issues. And, you know, one of them's imminent health issue or imminent safety. One of them's kind of, you know, cosmetic or something. And, you know, you can, when you generate that inspection report, you can schedule the, you know, the 3 different follow-ups. You know, the one that's got to be followed up on right away, the one that's got to be followed up on 2 weeks, and the one that's got to be followed up on a month. And so that's, we can automatically do it. You know, if there's a set of business rules that we can follow. So do you want to take a quick look at code enforcement?
Sure. Yeah.
So code enforcement is, I'm going to log in as a different user, and so I want to go and let's do this in So if just wanted to show you the portal side question. I'm going to enter this as if I was a staff member on the phone, but if we were in the system, logged in, and we wanted to do a code complaint, we can. You can go in here and there's different information. We can click on code complaint. These can be categorized, right, in different categories. We can require an address or not. This one requires a validated address, so I'm going to put in, and this gets the same as, on the permitting side, we can route different case types to different parties using the notification matrix. We picked a property here. This one here is really it's pretty straightforward. In terms of submitting the request. We can also have any number of custom fields here that where they can upload a document and stuff like that. And the other thing is that, and I'll show you that here with the 311 because we've got that set up, is that if I submit a request that's a general request, maybe not a code request, although this probably is a code request. I can have it attached to a specific location or not, and so I'll do a location here. I wanted to show you what we were talking about with a permit application. We can do that with code cases and with requests. So if I go down here, it's going to say, hey, what kind of request you got? Right, and I'm going to say, well, it's health and neighborhood issues, and then we can ask, well, select a health or neighborhood issue. Okay, well, it's business. It's a business, right? So, and then what type of business? Well, it's a restaurant. And then what's the name of the business? So as we're answering questions, this can kind of ask me more questions about that category of issue. And then we can pull up a form, that gets filled out as part of that request. And this one here actually has a, submittal button on it for taking pictures. So I've got a picture here of Han Solo, let's put that in there. So you can. That's another. The code complaints can be set up like that too. So, so let me log out. So let's say we're a staff member and we're going to do a case. We got a phone call. I'm going to go to create code case, and we'll say it's weeds in an abandoned vehicle. And I'm going to add a complainant. You don't have to. You could be anonymous. We always want to search for properties and people to see if they're already in the system. So I just put Smith in, and if they said they were Granny Smith, I can pick Granny. We'll say this is code enforcement. We can do any kind of file types, right? So they could be property maintenance, building, health, environmental, so you can have different file types for your enforcement cases. And I'll pick a property here. Oops. I always try to enter as little information as possible when we're entering an address, just because we don't know what the format is sometimes from the address file or the county. So here's my address that I picked out, and we're going to pull in all the stuff you need to do a code case, owner information, owner address, stuff like that. And we've got some other icons that appeared over here. So, I've got alerts on the property, right? So that's something that's available. Once I select a property, I can see anything that's going on there. Plus, I've got this other view other files on the property, so I can see if there's any permits or other code enforcement cases. I can see all that. And then we've got the map icon. And, here I can, hey, I want to see everything that's going on in the area. I can pull that stuff up. I can click on the pins and see what, see everything in the area that's happening. I can go, I can look at zoning layers. I can pull in, if I want to see where all the water hydrants are, I can, whatever you want to see here, you can see. But probably the most relevant is that you got somebody on the phone and they know their address, but they don't really know the guy's address up the street. So, if I was on the phone with Granny and she said it's the blue house on the corner, I can just drag the little pin up there and it'll change the address for me, right? So you can actually pick the addresses off of a map if you want. So that's some of the features there. I'm going to pick a category. I'll say this is weeds, kind of a general category. This is for like reporting purposes. They're all customizable drop-down list boxes. And I'll say I got this on the phone. And we can pull in specific property information that's relevant to this case type we want. And the next thing we really do is we're going to queue up a follow-up activity. I can pick another department if somebody else has to follow up on this. I can also pick another type of follow-up activity. Maybe it's animal control or something. I can do that. But let's just put a start date in. Start date's when it's going to show up on the inspector's calendar, and then due date's when it is overdue. So that's creating the case, and very familiar look and feel to the permits. I've got my people here. You're always going to have your association with your people to this particular case. We can have, you can have, a lot of times you'll have the tenant, the bank, the property owner, the property manager, multiple complainants, and then I can see these same things, these same icons. I got an alert here on Granny. So, you can put alerts on people, businesses, and contractors. I can see notes on Granny if there's any notes in the system, and also every other file she's associated with. So, so I can see all that, and I can send her emails. Activities here, we got our inspection scheduled. Documents is all your pictures and notices and stuff, violations, and we can keep track of fees and stuff too. So what's probably going to happen when I do this case is that I'm going to start adding violations. I go out to the property and I do that really kind of over here in the blue section. I just click on violation, and this is kind of like a wizard. And we can jump over the iPad here in a minute and kind of see what some of this looks like. It's really the same as the permitting inspection we did, but this allows me to have different sections of violations, and I can pick from the code, or I can pick from the short description, and I can also see the full description in here of that particular violation. And we've got another screen here, which is, I think that this is something we recently added, but I think it's helpful for doing things like rental inspections, where you can basically, kind of go through and pick things and add comments based on each one and generate your inspection report. So it's kind of a neat. I'm not really that familiar with this particular feature, but let's add a couple violations. And we said it was weeds, so I'll say we got some weeds, and I'll put in comments. And we'll take a picture, and this can be right from the camera, and you can, if you're on your desktop or whatever, you can select multiple pictures if you want, and put in weeds and save that. So what I did is I added a violation, and I got some pictures associated with that. So let's add another one. So this wizard's kind of set up where you can just kind of walk around and just keep adding pictures and violations. And I can put a follow-up date in here if I want to put a separate follow-up date in for each violation. I can do that, and that's going to automatically put that on my calendar. I have a card here somewhere. There you go. You're not going to, you're probably not going to see all these document types. If you're just a code officer, you might just see photo. They're actually, the document source types, can be owned and inherited by departments, so you can kind of simplify your what you see. So we did 2 violations. We took 3 pictures, and here's our violations. I can manage these all separately. Different closeout date, different dispositions, all that sort of stuff. I can see my pictures associated with the violation. You can also see all the pictures, and we do thumbnails. So you can do thumbnails, and you can use the markup tool. In code enforcement, you can go over here and do something like out here. So you can associate your text with the markups and that kind of stuff. And this one here, you can do calibrations and measurements. If I took a measurement while I was out there, I can use that to do some other things. That's not the tool I'm looking for. I can measure stuff and all that sort of thing. So I can do all that, and we'll go ahead and save that. Now, typically what I'm going to do is I added the violations, I added the pictures. I'm going to generate a violation notice, and maybe I'm going to do it right out in the field with a Bluetooth printer on my iPad. I'll just click on letter. When you generate letter documents in Citizen Service, kind of like the emails, we show you everybody and what their association is with the project or business or code enforcement case, right? So I want to send this out to my property owner, and here's a list of my options. I can send out different hearing notices, all that sort of stuff, but I'm going to do a violation letter, and I can put pictures in my letters, right? So we'll do that, and I can include my markups, so I'm not going to do that. So we can collect information at the time that a letter is generated. Sometimes it's like if it's a citation or a ticket, maybe we're getting the guy's driver's license number or something like that. We'll generate this. So this is a violation letter with my comments, the code officer's signature, and my pictures. So I'll go to print preview here and see what it looks like on a piece of paper. So and we can edit this just like the other stuff, and I'll click save. So that's the code enforcement sort of process. I'm going to complete this inspection so it gets off of my list, and I'll put in here that we took pictures. Handed homeowner, it'll be so. Now I follow up, same as before. I'm going to add my follow-up activity, and I can pick what activity type I want it to be. Maybe it's a reinspection. I'll put in a start date and a due date, and I'll save it. So if I go back out there, and this is still a problem, that's where we kind of start escalating stuff. And we can go down here to letter, and we're going to maybe do a citation notice. And we can put pictures in this one too. This is just a tag in the template, so it's easy to add this feature to any letters or emails. But I'll leave those out. I'll generate my letter. This is a processing document, or which basically means that we're going to do a little SQL script in association with this letter, whether we're doing it to get information from the database to put in the letter, or whether we're doing it to modify information about the file. And what we've done here is we've assessed the daily fines because we generated a citation, right? So, and you can kind of go through that whole process with the various notices in the system that we set up for you, liens, hearings, court hearings, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes in a code case you get to this point where you got to give the whole thing to somebody else, and they're going to follow up on it. Maybe it's the county attorney or something like that. And I'm going to go over here to file reports, which are down here at the bottom. And this is available throughout the system. So you can do this for a permit or a license, but code's kind of where I see it used the most. I'm just going to click on custom here, and this allows me to go through and individually pick the things I'd like to put in my file report, or I can just say I want everything, and I clicked on everything. So all my pictures, all my letters, all my notices, everything is going to show up here in this report, which I can print on paper, or I can just print it to a PDF and email it to someone. So that's something that's available in code enforcement. So, any questions on code?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we covered some of the plan review stuff. I want to take a look at a planning and zoning application in the real world, and we'll jump over to Spanish Fork, Utah. They've got about 40,000 citizens, and one thing I wanted to show you really quick is let's see if we've got an issued permit here. New townhome. That's probably issued. All right, so here I've got an issued permit. I want to just show you a little bit of variation in the permit types. They have a different kind of permit that they generate, different than our example. So they have like a 3-page permit, and we can do placards and ID cards and all that other stuff, but this is, first page of their permits, kind of the information about the project, building official's signature, and then we've got a page that's required inspections for this permit type, and then a financial summary. And you can kind of see that this is a little more than just a couple things. I mean, we got surcharges, impact fees, all that sort of stuff. So the fees can get really, really complicated in permitting, licensing, and we've been doing this for 14 years. We've seen about everything. This is their application, so they've got some helpful links in here built into the application. Here's my contractors and information. They've got the single button submittal thing here, which allows them to upload as much as they want. This is kind of their staff only area of the application, and here's my fees, so we've got a lot of different fee types here, and this was paid, looks like maybe online with a check. So that's a permit. Now what I wanted to do is look for, we got like a project in here, Petco. I wonder if it'll show up. There we go. That's not it. Let me see if I can search. So I'm going to show you the search page. You can search on properties, contacts. If I search on a property, I'll be able to see everything associated with that property, all the permits, licenses, and stuff. And same thing with people. And I'm going to go down here, and this is the search page, and basically, it allows me to pick all date ranges, file types, permit types. I've got a custom field down here that's business activities. So we can do custom fields can be used in search, and I'm going to pick site plan applications, and I'll see what we got here. I'm not sure. Okay, so this is a list of all their site plan applications, and when you're looking at the general search, a lot of times people can use this almost for reporting. What are my pending reviews, or how many issued permits do I have, like this, all that sort of stuff. And there's a map view of this also, so the map feature is kind of there with the search. They have a whole bunch of layers, in their system, and so that's kind of cool. And then you can click on the pins and open the files and stuff like that. But what I wanted to do is show you a project, and since I got a list here, I wanted to just use the browser feature here to find Petco, and I have to kind of like look through here. So, and this is a it's going to have a site plan. Oh, that's what it, there we go. So this one's got two. It's got a site plan and a final plat. So we've got those two here. Generally, planning and zoning applications or development applications, the form is easier, but there's just a lot more in terms of documents. So I've got my developer and engineer and stuff in here. And then I've got a whole bunch of submittal documents in the system, and the fees are usually easier to figure out or simpler. And this one was paid online with Amex. So the reviews are also more complex. So so here's all the reviews, and this is this is one. We've got a community development, then we go to engineering and fire and a whole bunch of other departments, and we come back to community development. This is very similar to what we were looking at. One thing that's maybe a little different is we have a development review committee activity down here at the bottom. And you can see here they're using it for their hearing date, so they can put together their agenda, and they also are taking minutes here in the notes. So when they have the meeting, they throw their minutes in there. So we can kind of generate the documents for the minutes and the agendas. And I have a customer here in Florida, and so we actually do their reports for them. This is their agenda packet, right? And this is generated in CitizenServe. This meeting agenda, and these are all the CitizenServe things here. So it's like we can do these in the system based on the different activities and the hearing dates and stuff that are scheduled. So typically there's no inspections in these. There might be a bunch of activities. This was, you can see the documents have been uploaded by the applicant, and this was an online application. This particular customer, I mean, they do 85–90% of their applications are online applications. I mean, they're almost paperless. And here's all my documents. So we've got a lot of documents, and you can select by source here. If I want to see my soils reports, I can see those. Elevations and landscaping. Here's the guys that are involved in the project, and then a complete history. So it's very similar. The development applications are, there's an application form and submittal documents, and then there's usually a much more complicated review route. And this one has, if I just want to look at the site plan, I can go over here and just look at that. But this one was resubmitted. So it got back to community development, and they did a resubmittal. And then it got resubmitted, sent out for resubmission again. And then this went through, it looks like several resubmittals, but it's a little strip mall, so it's, it's probably a lot that the city was doing to review the project. So any questions on that? Or so there's a question kind of down at the end about elevator compliance. Is there any specific questions, or do you want me to show you elevator something or other?
Yeah, I mean, elevator compliance is a little unique in Illinois. Yep. I know Mount Prospect is doing it, so that's something that they're using CitizenServe for, or will be. Okay. Yeah, so we have a third party that performs our inspections for us.
Yep.
And we actually just administer the program for the state.
Okay.
So really, we would just need to be able to track those third-party inspections and then be able to turn around an invoice.
Yep, we can do all that. I had a, oh, there we go. So the city of Denver uses us for conveyance permits. And it used to be the state of Colorado, but then Denver Fire took over the responsibility. And so this is Denver Fire, and they have, and this is kind of a, you talked a little bit about the metrics. He's got, total inspections for today. You can see that in here. He's got his temporary inspections, periodic inspections, acceptance inspections, stuff like that. Let me pull one of these up here. And this is sort of the information from the form, but I wanted to show you that. And then I think they're pretty similar. They have a, they have to manage, the third parties also. So, I've got a inspector here, and the inspector is go up elevator services, right? And so they manage the, they have different inspectors who do the inspections and stuff like that. So it is a process that we can do, and we also do that for the state of Florida. It's boiler inspections, but it's very similar. It's kind of like there's insurance companies involved, and then there's inspectors who are involved in boiler inspections, and then the state has their own inspectors who inspect the state properties, and then we do their invoicing and stuff like that for them. So I'm sure that we can put that together for you guys.
Okay. I have a question about our GIS system. We belong to a consortium, and so we have it's Esri based, but we have our own user interface. So have you run into a situation like that before, and you anticipate any concerns with that?
So we can do a couple things. One of them is, just as part of the subscription, we're going to keep your property data updated. And let me show you what. And we can also bring in layers into the system. We can also use web services to directly access that system. And you can use links in the system. So let me find, this is St. Charles County, and this is like metrics. This guy's the manager, so he's got lots of information about, kind of reviews, who's working on what reviews, overdue permit reviews, all that sort of stuff. But I'm trying to find, I just want to go to one of their properties, and so I want to give you an idea of what we can do with property data. And so this is property, right? And so I can see the files on the property, the permits on the property, the licenses, any inspections that have ever happened on this property. I can see any violations, like code violations. I can see all the documents associated with the property ever, generated documents, pictures, plan documents, all that sort of stuff. And then notes, and I can add alerts and add notes and add documents to this property, right? So the property information, we can do custom fields with the property information, and so this has a lot of information, right? I mean, there's the standard stuff up here, legal description, geolocation, stuff like that. And then we have whatever else you want to put in, we can put in the system. Now, they have a links area down here, right, which basically is, hey, I want to go to the county GIS system and pull up this particular parcel, right? So I can click on that, and what we're doing is we're making an HTTP call, and we're appending the parcel number, and we're going to pull this up in the county GIS system, so we have the full features and functionality of the county GIS system. And so here's my specific parcel, right? And I can pull that up in the system. So that's been pulled up in another tab here. It's just how you do the HTTP link that determines that. They also have a, there's another system they access, which is like a document system. And it's kind of like a sketch, is what they call it. And so, when I'm looking at my property here, I can see the full GIS system. I can see the sketch. This is just a custom field. There's no charge to do this in CitizenServe. We can set them up anytime to go to the state contractor database, this GIS system, the code books, whatever. And so that's one approach. The other approach is we pull layers and property information in directly, real time, from the GIS system, and it really depends client to client how we do it, because sometimes like in an area that's like a resort community, it might be second homes, there might be a lot of turnover in the ownership, or we might be in another area that's maybe it's a big city, but the county just doesn't update the records that much. So it's kind of up to how you want to do it.
Okay. Can the system route inspections for that one individual? Like if one inspector has his inspections for the day, will it route using Google Maps or whatever?
Can it
routing, yeah.
Location.
So routing, I don't know if Jared's got any. So we can show, your inspections on a map. We can show those things on a map, and we can also use the whole Google API, right? So we can take a list of addresses and come up with the order you should go in, to optimize your inspections for that day. I don't know that we have a lot of customers that do that, and I'm not sure why, but everybody, a lot of times when when we do demonstrations and stuff, they ask if we can do that, but when they start using the system, a lot of people don't. So I'm not really sure why that is, but we can do it, and it would just be a report. So it would, it's a custom report, and it would be, included in the subscription. So.
And then when you're on the iPad out in the field, can you click somewhere to show exactly where you are, like Google Maps or whatever, and see other? So say you're out doing an inspection on a home, and then you have 10 minutes, and you want to do other property maintenance cases that are in the area. Can you see all that from the iPad?
Yeah, that's supported in the browser. To kind of pull up the map and show you where you are. You have to have location services turned on your device.
Okay.
So I don't. Go ahead.
Do you have a separate app for the mobile device, or you only can use the browser-based format?
It's the same application on a tablet or a smartphone. We don't have a separate app. It's all the same app.
Okay.
It works better that way because you don't have to learn more than one thing, and then there's no updates, right? I mean, every day you get up, you log in, you got the most current version of CitizenServe, and we update the software probably like twice a month. So. And all of our customers are on the same version. So when we add stuff, we don't leave anybody behind. Everybody's always up to date on the latest version of the software. It's more like using Google or Amazon than it is like a traditional software where you bought version 2 and you have to buy version 3 later, and then somebody's got to migrate you and set you up. We want to be able to add new features, really cool things quickly. So it's just better to have everybody on the same application. So.
Is there a screen or a calendar you can look at if you're a supervisor and you want to see all the inspections that the inspectors are going out for that day?
Yeah, so Jared here is a supervisor, and he's got, he's got open reviews, he's got total reviews, he's got like average review days here, upcoming inspections. Maybe this is good. So he's got 90 inspections for today, right? And he can click on that, and here's basically, all the inspections that his department's doing today. So yeah, we can set up metrics, reports. I don't know if he has any links on his. So he's got kind of a couple links here, like code enforcement cases by responsible user, case status open. So these are all the, all of his open code enforcement cases on a map, and he's got a list of the each inspector. And so, and I'm kind of zoomed in here, but if I zoom out a little bit, you can probably see more. So this is, St. Charles County, Missouri, and he's got his code enforcement inspectors, and then they probably work in zones. You can kind of see the colors here. And then you can click on these if you're like, oh, I want to see what's going on here. You can click on it and see what's behind that. You can drill down on the cases, and so this is probably just a custom report. He probably just said, hey, I want this report of all my code officers and all their inspections or all their open cases, which is probably more relevant. So, and really a lot of times it's just a custom report that we add for, a particular user or particular department. So.
And we can always add new custom reports?
Yes, and that's included in the subscription. So you can create reports too, and that's kind of one of the things on the checklist here that we got. And I wanted to show you really quick how that gets done. So if I go to, this is Somerville, Massachusetts, and again, this is another supervisor. He can kind of see his active licenses and stuff like that on his homepage. He's got a area here for his staff, total pending tasks and appointments. He can kind of drill down on each staff member to kind of see what they've got going on. But if I go to reports, he's got different sections here, building reports, health reports. They do health licensing. He can see things like tickets on a map. Let's just do these are all the tickets they issued last month, and so I can see my tickets here, and you can drill down on these and click on the tickets and kind of see what they look like. That popped up over here, and I wanted to show you this really quick. This is sort of the, we had to match the court system ticket format, so that's the kind of stuff we can do. But I want to do a report. Let's say I want to do permits issued on a map, right? I can go in here, and he's got that in his system here, probably permits issued on a map. And you can pull this up, and I'll show you what it looks like. But then I'm going to make this report just so that you can kind of see how easy it is. So here's my permits on a map by permit type. And again, all the reports you can, whether you create them or we create them, you can drill down on the particular permits. So I go to reports, I go create report, the little icon here, and I'll just do Jim's Task report 8.3. So I'm going to name my report, and then I can save it in one of my folders, and I can pick my display type. We can do charts, list reports can be exported to Excel, map reports, and then we do merge templates, right? So you can send a letter out, from your list, stuff like that. So let's do a map report. I can add it to my home page just by clicking on the little thing here. And I'm going to do, so you don't have to know anything about the database to do reports with this tool. It's an end user reporting tool. So I want permits, right? And that's all I know. And then I'm going to pick my field type, and I can choose from custom fields if I want. So if there's stuff on the application I'd like to have in my report, I can do that. I'm just going to click permit, and I want my permit number, my permit type, subtype, work description, issue date, maybe status, and maybe evaluation. Okay, so these are the fields that I've selected, and I can go up here and say I want to have the issue date greater than, so I can build my criteria here, and if I rerun the report, it's going to let me change the filters, the parameters that I have. So, and then I can create a legend on my map, and I could do by status if I wanted to, but I'll do permit type. And click go. And that's the report we just did. And you can see my permits on a map, and I can click on the pin, and it'll show me that the information that I picked for the report. And then I can also, even though I created this report, I can still drill down on the permit number if I want and pull that up. So reports are pretty easy to generate. If you want to do reports yourself, again, a lot of times people want something really specific, and probably maybe like trying to think of one of his cool reports in here, and I think it's his hearing notice that was kind of cool. And all right, so hearing notice list, no, that's not it. Tickets, there's one in here. Okay, so here, this non-criminal ticket hearing list, right, is maybe an example of a custom report that we would do for a customer. So it just does a little bit, it has a little more functionality than the standard reporting can do. So if I run this report, this gives me, so this is, I'm going to a hearing and I have to, have the information. So I've got, here the hearing decision, what was the disposition of the case. If I want to see the ticket, I can just click on ticket, and I can go to the actual ticket file and see the information on the ticket. I can go back to my report here. Where'd my report go? I gotta hit the back button. So I can go and look at the basically it's allowing me to drill down on my files, and while I'm sitting there in the hearing, I can pull up the tickets and come up with the decisions and put the decisions and stuff in there. So it's sort of this one has more more functionality than we might have with a standard report, but it's it's just something to support their process and what they do. So any questions?
No, I don't think we have any other questions.
Okay, so let Ray or I know if you have any additional questions. And again, our pricing's out there on the website. We're also available through some resellers. So if you want to avoid the RFP process, and just, I'm sure we have one or more resellers that are on the state list or a buying list that you might be able to use. And we've got the demos and stuff out there. So if you're having a cup of coffee and you want to see some more stuff, there's a lot out there.